Well, it's quite amazing. So Ravel wanted to outsmart Balakirev. Really to do such a most difficult piece. The point is this: the difficulty is enormous, and every pianist knows that. On the other hand, it is also there is this very special, somewhat unrealistic atmosphere. All those, it's a little bit like, I don't know, visions. The point is not to get excited with what technically can be done, but still somehow to put it like a horse, to put it to creation of that atmosphere. For example, I think that in Scarbo, those very persistent accents in the left hand, on the bass, it's not written, and it doesn't mean that it cannot be done. But the idea is that Scarbo is not a monster. You see, he is a little devil. He can jump out, and then he can go down. He's very dynamic. He's very, really quite something. But sometimes I get the feeling that you are a little bit too in love with your ability. For example, there is this passage, this big passage, which it's absolutely breathtaking how you play it. However, there is diminuendo. There's nothing in your playing. It's really breathtaking. Or how they say, jaw-dropping. How can you do? And it's really quite. I'm not, God forbid, trying to take away from this fantastic thing. However, if you could still at a moment when you are most excited about that and really play, I don't know, it's hard to imagine people being able to do that. And still, should be somehow, it should be that when you are being complimented, so what? But that's the music. See, there are things, for example, in Ondine, that you start so nicely, but when the theme comes, it is just one more thread in this texture, and I think that it is actually, idea is that it is, she is talking.
Yeah, she's
so talking. She is cold-blooded. She is half fish, yes? So, of course, so there is no real emotion, but she at least, she wants to seduce him, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes, it should be something a little bit more. You're, well, okay, well, it's a big thing. And you better listen how I do this, the water, and that is quite amazing. If you could a little bit sort of say, well, what? It's nothing for me. I could, you know, it's this known story about Simon Barrère. He was a very important virtuoso pianist, and they were with Rubinstein. They were at the same time in the States, and they were sort of rivals. And so Barrère played. By the way, he died on the stage. You know, he played a concert and he died. I think it was Greek concerto that he played.
Greek?
Yeah, I think, but I may be wrong, but it was on the stage. Anyway, so he played a recital, and Rubinstein came, and then they went to the green room and said, "Oh, Simon, you play so wonderfully. But why, tell me, why do you play the Schumann toccata so fast?" I said, "Oh, Arthur, I could play twice faster also." So, you see, so I would like a little bit from you to sort of course it was a pose, yes. He knew that he is such a virtuoso and that few can play like him. But as if it's nothing for me. Nothing. Yeah. So if you play this, and if you could do it even lighter, and then to leave. Now, there are places where this theme in Ondine comes in octaves, right?
Yeah.
Ravel writes legato.
Yeah.
It's impossible to play legato.
Yeah.
But you say, well, impossible, so hell with this legato, tam, pam, you play just like that. And that's a little bit not, it's too much.
It's too much.
You should still try at least to make some sort of line. Yeah. Because then there are, you also have to be very careful about allowing yourself too much rubatos in this style.
Yeah.
You know, I studied for 2 years with Guido Agosti, Juilliard. And Guido Agosti was in Paris at the time. He was student when Debussy and Ravel was the big range. They were often played, and he heard them perform. And the one thing he said that must be observed is absolutely fidelity to the exactness of tempo and of rhythm. Rubato only when allowed. They write sometimes to do retardando. Sometimes just write rubato. Debussy does write rubato.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't write, no, it's not Chopin.
I see.
It's not Liszt.
Yeah.
It's not even Brahms.
Right.
And not Schumann. It is that they have this exactitude, the precision. Because you see, with Impressionists, it is like this. On one hand, they want to be very, very exact in colors and everything like that. You know that the painters, Impressionist painters, they would pay, if they would do landscape, they would do like 15 minutes or 10 minutes a day, and then tomorrow at the same time, because the sun had to be on the same angle, so to be as precise. On one hand. On the other hand, they loved when there is fog, when there is clouds, when there is water playing, which is by definition not exact. So there are two things which are seemingly contradictory, and yet they both exist. So in my mind, I think that you could still a little bit more, especially when you have this, which is not a landscape, which is, you know, it is images, you know, this Le Gibet, it's terrible. I think now there is also, there is a place in Ondine quite early that it is forte, and you know, it is like some kind of, I don't know, very industrial tool that is being used. She is fragile. She is, you know, fragile, slippery, elegant, and that should be even when there is this kind of fortissimo. For example, when that was not bad after he sort of speaks to her and gives her negative, and so she just runs away. Well, she of course is mad, but this fortissimo still. Don't be hysterical.
I see.
You see. Here, remember that she is cold-blooded. In forte, find elegance, and even in her speech, in the beginning, it's all try to say, well, yes, cold-blooded or not, but it is her song, and she wants the guy. So she's not totally without emotion, because if she would be, so why would she care about him? She was queen, I don't know.
Queen of the underworld.
Yes, underworld, so she could be quite happy. No, she wanted something. So she is also half human.
Yes.
So don't make her out as a monster.
I see.
Now, in Le Gibet, you know this thing, ti, 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 ti. You know the crows in Australia. They ta.
Yes.
It's funny. 3 times and 2, and 1. That's so, and you should, through all the things that happen there and the harmonies and all that, this always should be there.
I see.
So that, you know, it's sort of a reminder of all this terribleness of that situation, this, you know, this dead bodies swinging in the wind or whatever, and there are places where suddenly there is, for example, I think that here, and here it is as if there is a little memory maybe of him as when he was alive or something. Just a little bit. He says, "Don't be too
much."
Because he writes sans expression.
Well.
Without expression. But the music is expressive.
Yes.
So as if you remember, oh yes, it is this person. Yeah, something about him.
So just a little bit,
just a little bit. But this ta, which keeps telling you, no, he's dead. It's nothing. Everything is ended. And that should be always prevailing there. It should be you see, this Gibet, it should be very depressing. It should put all your audience in deepest depression. There are enough things in life that call for depression and cause depression, and here it is concentrated.
Right.
Now, and in the Scarbo, you are. I think that this little accent, you overdo it terribly every time. Ta, ta, ta. Ya, da, 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 da. It's more like shudder. And you ya, da, 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 like with the hammer. Why? Why? There are places, but there always you should keep in mind that it is a little thing.
Yeah.
You see, it could have said devil, it could be said monster, it could have said, I don't know, anything. Scarbo is very special kind of, it is of course devil, but it is a tiny one.
Yeah.
It can sometimes scare, but then it goes down. And that don't forget. I find sometimes you are much too yeah, why? Boom, boom, boom. Why? It doesn't say all those basses. Boom, 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 boom. It is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not 1, 1. This is too much. I think that, so, you see the potential that you can do this even more thought-provoking, wow. And that. And you sometimes compromise, to my mind, on solutions which are instrumentally superb. But, it's not so special as this weird situation that here exists. And that could be. So, then, ta-tam, ta-tam, the first one sometimes totally disappears.
I see.
Tra, you just don't play. You don't, it is maybe because it is very fast. Could be. But still, ta-tam. There are even places when he writes accents on the first.
The first one.
Yeah. But even when he, for example, here, you see?
Yeah.
Tara, 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 tara.
Yeah.
But even when he doesn't write, you should not deliver it in such a way that we don't really hear. We see and we know the piece that it should be something, but you don't play. It doesn't sound. It's not enough that you can play very fast. It should be also that the listener can, in this very fast tempo, to hear it.
Yeah.
See, and that's why today I spoke in the lesson. Some very great pianists, Claudio Arrau, for example, Gilels, Horowitz, when they were young, they played much faster. When they matured, they play less fast. It doesn't sound less fast and doesn't sound less virtuosic, but they have such a speed that also allows the listener to hear everything, and so we are tickled much more, we are stimulated much more, because if you play very fast, so it could be that the 8 notes sound a little bit like one thing, and we register it more or less once. But if you play just tiny fraction, not so fast, so we register it as 8. Tak, 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 tak. You see? And eventually, wow, what a virtuosity. Because it was, measured. Everything is being now researched and measured. And metronomically proved that the tempi of their performances went down. I heard, I don't even remember what piece, young Claudio Arrau, unbelievably quick. And he didn't play so fast at all. He was not one of the very fast. Gilles has this incredible clarity in his mature way.
Yes.
You would not say that it is not enough brilliant or not enough fast, because everything is like a needle in our ear. So don't exaggerate that thing. And then, of course, when we have this big descending passage and he writes the Menuendo thing,
Yeah.
You must do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not, so he can do it, so he shows off. You shouldn't, because you can do it as a part of your artistic luggage, and not as something that, try, before you say a word, try to play it so fast. Yes, it is virtue and it's needed, but it is not 100% everything, okay? So I think that, of course, you can do it stupendously, but maybe to think about where you can turn our attention from your incredible ability, so that after the performance, we would not come, wow, what a pianist, my God, what music. You know, when great performer plays, even now, music that was written 200 years ago, you think, wow, what a great piece. You listen Schubert sonata, wow, you know, you see? And that is the more, it's more important as your mission as an artist, as a performer, as a pianist, is to, as much as possible, to work on that string in us, in your listeners, rather than only admire incredible ability, because it is there. It is really, it's, you know, in such a casual setting to sit down and to play Gaspard like that, it's hard to believe. And never say that is it. There's always still to look. And for you, it's very clear. I don't think that you should be concerned with anything which is of technical nature, of expressive and of picturesque thing. There is no limit, and you try to expand the thing. And certainly not to do things like banging every accent in the left hand. Why? It is the Scarbo doesn't work with sledgehammer. No, it's boom, boom. No, okay, but bravo.